This is Chris Medeiros. Like, subscribe to Team W Wrestling on YouTube, subscribe to my other channel, Word of Chris, and subscribe to this channel, Chris Medeiros, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I'll be down there in the description box. And I'm here to do my AEW Dynamite August 24th, 2022 reviews. So here we go, discussing about Dynamite. Now we kick off the show with Chris Jericho coming out to the middle of the ring, and he was calling out Daniel Garcia because of what happened last week where Daniel Garcia was in the match against Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson won that match, but then he was trying to show respect to Daniel Garcia, and that's when Jericho attacked Bryan from behind, beating him down and stuff, and then Daniel got him to stop attacking Bryan Danielson. So yeah, that's why he's calling out Daniel Garcia. So yeah, Garcia comes out, and they started talking. Daniel Garcia was talking about how he always looked up to Bryan Danielson, how he was his hero and all that, and how he just wanted to be in the ring with them, even for those 30 minutes and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what he was saying. And then he was saying that Chris Jericho ruined that moment last week where Bryan Danielson was showing him respect and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what he was saying. And then he was telling Daniel Garcia, tell us that you're a sports entertainer and not a wrestler. So yeah, that's what he was saying. But then all of a sudden Bryan Danielson comes out and he says, you know what? You already know what you are, Daniel. You don't even gotta tell him that you're not even a sports entertainer. You're a wrestler and all that. And then he looks at Jericho and starts talking to him, and then Jericho's telling Bryan Danielson to leave and all that stuff, and then he looks at Daniel Garcia and he says, tell us all that you're a sports entertainer, not a wrestler. So yeah, that's what he was saying. And then Daniel Garcia was like, I want to talk to you in the back about this and not out in the public. And he kept on saying it. And then Daniel Garcia was like, you know what, screw this. He was about to walk away. Jericho grabs him, and then Daniel Garcia pushes him down. So yeah, and then Chris Jericho looks like, he's shocked about that, and then Daniel Garcia walked out the ring. So yeah, that's what happened there. And then him and Bryan Danielson starts arguing. Bryan Danielson, Chris Jericho was talking about, like, I don't understand why people keeps on calling you the best wrestler in the world, even though you're not. I am. I am the last survivor of the Heart Dungeon, and Lionheart, Chris Jericho. So yeah, that's what he was saying. And then he was telling Bryan Danielson that he better watch his back of all times, because he won't know when he's going to hit him. And then all of a sudden we see Jake Hager attack Bryan Danielson from behind, laying him out in the middle of the ring. So yeah, that's what happened there. It was a pretty good segment though. But yeah, it looks like it's going to either go forward with Bryan Danielson versus Chris Jericho 1-on-1 at All Out, or, you know what, I can actually see Bryan Danielson teaming up with Daniel Garcia to take on Jericho and Jake Hager in a tag team match. I think that's going to be the more likely way of how they're going to go about it at All Out. So yeah, that's what I think is going to be happening. But yeah, it was still a pretty good segment to kick off Dynamite tonight. But there's many matches tonight. We got the AEW World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk versus the interim World Champion Jon Moxley in a title unification match tonight for the world title. So yeah, that match will be happening in the main event tonight. Not only that, we'll see Billy Gunn versus Colton Gunn later on tonight. Ricky Starks will be speaking tonight about Will Hobbs or whatever, and Will Ospreay's in action later on tonight as well. And not only that, we will see up next it will be Jay Lethal versus Dax Harwood up next on Dynamite. So yeah, that match will be the first match of the night, and it'll be happening up next. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, it was a one-on-one match. It was Dax Harwood versus Jay Lethal one-on-one. Now, Cash Wheeler went backstage, so he's not ringside, or Satnam Singh and Sanjay Dutt. So yeah, they all went backstage. It was just a one-on-one match between these two guys, and it was a pretty good match. Both of them going at it. At one point, they kept on rolling each other up, coming up with near falls and all that stuff. But then we get to the ending where Dax was locking on the sharpshooter onto Jay Lethal, and then all of a sudden we see Sanjay Dutt get on the apron, distracting Dax, and then Jay Lethal was trying to roll him up, 1, 2, Dax kicks out, and then Dax tried to roll him up, but Jay Lethal kicked out. Both of them was going at it and all that, and then Dax rolled him up again, getting a 2 count, but then Jay Lethal rose through, holding on to the trunks, getting the 3 count. So yeah, Jay Lethal defeated Dax Harwood tonight on Dynamite. That's what happened. Pretty good match. Dax accidentally collided with Sanjay Dutt, pretty much headbutting him. So yeah, that's what really cost him the match. But yeah, pretty good match though. Like I said, for that match, I'll give it 3.5 stars. That's why I'll give it a pretty good start to Dynamite. So yeah. But then after the match ended, Sanjay Dutt said, "Well, remember how I said there was a trios match, and it'll be FTR and Wardlow versus Jay Lethal and some more people? Well, here we go. We're going to announce them. It's 2 of Jay Lethal's friends from his old days." And then they announced that it was Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, Motor City Machine Guns. They will be going at All Out, teaming up with Jay Lethal to take on Wardlow and FTR in the 6-man tag team match. So yeah, Motor City Machine Guns making their AEW debut at All Out. So yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty good match, and what happened after the match was pretty good. So yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on AEW Dynamite. See you guys later until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, now before we talk about the one-on-one match with Billy Gunn and Colton Gunn, we got to talk about the interview from before. Now the AEW Women's Champion Thunder Rosa was getting interviewed, and she was talking about how she got to, well, she's going to be injured, so she was talking about she was standing down as Women's Champion, but I think she meant instead of saying that, because that's pretty much relinquishing the title, she pretty much meant to say, this is supposed to be interim championship. So yeah, but she said she'll come back eventually, and yeah. So at All Out, it was supposed to be Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm 1-on-1, but now the match has been made a fatal 4-way match, and it'll be Toni Storm versus Britt Baker versus Jamie Hayter versus Hikaru Shida in a fatal 4-way match for the interim AEW Women's Championship. So yeah. Just, that's the only thing I don't like, is like, there's so many interim championships, I swear to God. Just too many of them. You know, the TNT championship a few months ago, freaking, the world title is just now finally getting unified tonight, literally, and now we got interim women's championship, and watch, it'll probably be the tag titles next, maybe, who knows, which ain't an issue, but, just relinquish the titles instead of doing interim titles, that's it. So yeah, that's my little bit of issue, but that's what happened backstage. And then we get to a one-on-one match. It was Billy Gunn with Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, the Acclaim at ringside, versus Colton Gunn with Austin Gunn at ringside. And Stokely Hathaway was watching throughout, in the crowd and all that stuff. He was watching this match. So yeah, the match was going on, and then we get to the ending where Stokely actually grabbed the boombox and hit Max Caster in the back of the head with it, taking him out, and then Austin Gunn throws Anthony Bowens to the steel steps, taking him out. The referee was distracted by that, and that's when Colton hits a low blow onto Billy, and then lifts him up, hitting his finisher move, the Colt 45, onto Billy Gunn, and then pinning him for the 3 count. So yeah, Colton Gunn defeated Billy Gunn tonight on Dynamite. That's what happened. For that match, I'll just give it 1 star. That's what I'll give it. It was an okay match. But yeah, that's what I'll give it. But then after the match ended, we see the Gun Club just attacking Billy and the Acclaim, beating them down and all that. And then we see the AEW World Tag Team Champion Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee coming out to pretty much chase off the Gun Club. So yeah, that's what happened there. And it looks like Stokely Hathaway's bringing the Gun Club with him with his group. So yeah, that's what happened there. But then, after the match, we see an interview with Death Triangle and, United Empire. They was all getting interviewed backstage, and then somehow each one of them is going to be winning the Trios tournament at All Out and stuff like that, and the rounds tonight. So, yeah, that's what they was talking about. But, yeah, that's what happened there. But up next, we're going to be seeing Britt Baker versus Kylan King up next on Dynamite. So yeah, that match will be happening up next. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, now it was a one-on-one match. It was Britt Baker versus Kylan King in a one-on-one match. Kylan was doing pretty good in this match. Britt Baker, came back, beating her down and all that, laying in some super kicks, and then hitting the curb stomp onto King, and then locks on her submission move, the lockjaw, making her tap out. So yeah, Britt Baker defeated Kylan King tonight on Dynamite. That's what happened. It was a pretty good match, but pretty much Britt Baker was the one dominating, and the King was trying to make a comeback, but Britt Baker won at the end of the day. So yeah, for that match, I'll give it 1.5 stars. That's why I'll give it. It was like an okay match. So yeah, that's why I'll give that match. But then after the match ended, Britt Baker grabs the mic and starts talking about how when she was AEW Women's Champion, that she had a broken wrist and pretty much held the title throughout her whole entire title reign, never, relinquishing it or anything like that. And Thunder Rosa can't do that while she's injured. So yeah, but then she says there's Toni Storm, and she says it's okay because now she'll be going all out, actually facing a worthy opponent and stuff. So yeah, that's what she said. And then Toni Storm comes walking out, and then she was about to get in the ring with Britt Baker, but then all of a sudden Jamie Hayter attacked her from behind, beating her down and all that. Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter just double teaming on Toni Storm, beating her down, and then Hikaru Shida comes out, saving Toni Storm by chasing off Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. So yeah, that's what happened there. Like I said, it was an okay match between those two women, and what happened after the match was pretty good. So yeah, but then after that we see Tony Schiavone interviewing the Acclaim and Swerve in Our Glory, and they was talking, Swerve, Strickland, and Keith Lee was talking about how they just came out there to save the Acclaim because they think they'll be worthy opponents for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. And then the Acclaim was like, well, we didn't need y'all's help, but it'll be okay because we'll get all out and beat y'all for the tag title. So yeah, that's what happened there. So at All Out will be Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland versus the Acclaim for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. So yeah, that match will be happening at All Out. But up next, we're going to be seeing the AEW World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk versus the interim AEW World Heavyweight Champion Jon Moxley for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship unification match. So yeah, that match will be happening up next. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing to happen on AEW Dynamite, yeah, we had a AEW World Heavyweight Championship match. So yeah, so let me get to it. It was the AEW World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk versus the interim AEW World Heavyweight Champion Jon Moxley in the AEW World Title unification match. And yeah, this match, both of them was going at it. CM Punk was getting a little bit offensive, but then we see at the ending where he hits that roundhouse kick on Jon Moxley. Apparently his foot got injured again, and then Moxley beats him down, laying in some elbows, going after the foot, and then hit the paradigm shift once, and then lifts him back up, and then hit him again with it again, and then pins him for the 3 count. So yeah, Jon Moxley defeated CM Punk to become the undisputed AEW World Heavyweight Champion. So yeah, that's what happened there. CM Punk just got John Cena'd by Jon Moxley, which was Brock Lesnar. So yeah, that's what this match reminded me of John Cena versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam 2014, I want to say. So I think that was the year, I can't remember, but yeah, that's what I think the year is. But yeah, that's what literally happened. Yeah, just wild. But for that match, I'll just give it 1.5 stars. That's what I'll give it. Now, everybody could always say that, man, Hangman Adam Page's world title reign was the worst. But nah, it's second worst now because CM Punk got the worst world title reign in AEW. So yeah, nothing against Punk or whatever, but didn't look good for him. But then we see Tony Schiavone backstage, and he's interviewing Christian Cage, and he says, do you accept Jungle Boy's challenge at All Out? And Christian Cage was going, cutting promo and stuff, talking about how Jungle Boy said all those hurtful things to him, and how it's Jungle Boy's fault for losing the AEW World Tag Team Championships and all that. But he said at All Out, he will go against him. So yeah, he accepted the challenge. But up next, we're going to be seeing Ricky Starks having something to say up next on Dynamite. So yeah, that'll be happening up next. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, it was Absolute Ricky Starks that came out, and he pretty much was cutting promo talking about Will Hobbs, how he thought that him and Will Hobbs was friends and all that, but apparently they are not, for what Will Hobbs did to him, attacking him, beating him down and all that, and he knew that that his neck was injured, how it almost became a time where he was about to be gone from out the company and all that stuff, but Will Hobbs took it upon himself to try to injure him again. So yeah, that's what Ricky Starks was saying. He says that it's been some bad times lately. Him pretty much with Team Taz disbanding and Will Hobbs turning his back on him and all that stuff. So he said, you know what? They thought they was friends, but he said that at All Out, he challenges Will Hobbs in a one-on-one match. So yeah, he sent out a challenge to Will Hobbs at All Out. So yeah, that's what happened there. And then after that, we see Jon Moxley cutting a promo backstage, talking about, oh, people didn't expect that to go down, huh? That I beat down CM Punk like that. Those same people kept on calling me interim world champion instead of the actual AEW world champion and all that. But he said that his time is now. So yeah, that's what Jon Moxley said. Pretty good promo from Jon Moxley. Go check it out if you have yet. But yeah, that's what happened there. So yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on AEW Dynamite. See you guys later until then. So the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, it was the main event. It was the semifinals of the AEW Trios Tag Team Tournament. So yeah, it was Pac, Rey Fenix, and Penta Oscuro Death Triangle versus Will Ospreay and Aussie Open United Empire in the six-man tag team match. And this match, it was a pretty damn good match. Like, this match was wild. It lasted a good minute. This match, everybody was going at it. At the ending, we see the Lucha Brothers, taking out Aussie Open, and then Pac was on the top turnbuckle, jumps off with a Black Arrow, but that's when Will puts his knees up, Pac landing on his knees. Will goes for the pin onto him. 1, 2, Pac barely kicked out at 2, but then Will Ospreay picks him up, trying to hit his finish move on to Pac, but Pac reverses it with a Hurricane Rana, pinning him. 1, 2, he barely kicked out at 2, and then Pac takes him out with a Tornado DDT after that. He climbs up the top turnbuckle, about to hit the Black Arrow onto him again, but then we see Fletcher pulling Will Ospreay out the ring, and then Pac decides to get on that ring post and jump off with a moonsault onto both of them, taking them out. And then he sees a guy wearing a box, like pretty much wearing a paper bag and stuff over his head or whatever. And then Pac is thinking it's Kip Sabian, so yeah, he walks up, pulls it off of his head, and no, it was not Kip Sabian, it was some guy. And then Kip Sabian comes up from behind Pac, beating him down, hitting a suplex onto him outside of the ring, taking him out. And then that's when Aussie Open and Will Ospreay got into the ring, beating down the Lucha Brothers, taking out Penta, and then Aussie Open picks up Rey Fenix onto their shoulders, and then we see Will Ospreay jumping off the second rope with a springboard cutter onto Rey Fenix, and then pins him for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, United Empire defeated Death Triangle tonight in the six-man tag team match. So that's what happened, and now United Empire will be taking on the Elite at All Out in the in the next match. So yeah, that's what happened. Pretty good match though. For that match, I'll give it 4.5 stars. That's what I'll give it. But yeah, still pretty good match. But for tonight's Dynamite, I'll say that was match of the night. But tonight's Dynamite, it was kind of lackluster. I'm not even going to lie. The main event was amazing, but the world title match was a disappointment. It should have never taken place in the middle of the show anyways. It might as well should have taken it at the main event. Even though it was a shitty match, it should have taken place at the in the main event, because they probably lost viewers after that match, maybe. Who knows? And the match only lasted like 3 minutes, and it was just a big disappointment, that they straight up squashed CM Punk like that. But yeah, that's what happened there. Britt Baker versus Kylan King was alright, but nothing big there. Dax Harwood versus Jay Lethal, that was a pretty good match. But yeah, other than the 6-man tag team match as the main event and Dax versus Jay, those are the only pretty good matches to watch from Dynamite. But yeah, tonight's Dynamite was pretty lackluster. I'll give tonight's Dynamite 7.5 stars. That's what I'll give it. But yeah, subscribe to Team W Wrestling on YouTube. Subscribe to my other channel, Word of Chris, and subscribe to this channel, Chris Bagels, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I'll be down there in the description box. And I'll see you guys later for this Friday Night SmackDown. See you guys later. Until then.